Dzogchen Today podcast.
Hello and welcome to join us for this exceptional mini-series of Dzogchen Today podcast dedicated to the universe, the Dzogchen and Us. I'm Niels, your host, and I'm delighted to be with you today. We are recording from the place of La Sauveté in the south of France, dedicated to the Dzogchen practice and supported by the Dzogchen Today project. Today we are going to explore some very contemporary issues and the way the tradition of the great perfections consider things and what it can bring us in concrete terms. In this first episode, we'll start by discussing the reality of who we are as human beings. And undoubtedly, if you're watching or listening to us, you must be one of it, so this will concern you for sure. To find out more about it, I'm very pleased to welcome Mila Rinpoche.
Hello.
And Damien Brouon.
Hello.
Thank you for being here with us today.
Thank you for having us.
Yes, thank you.
Really glad to be in La Sauveté with this sunny day. This is amazing.
Yeah, so Mila Kensei, you are a trained scholar, consultant and teacher of Dzogchen. You have been traditionally trained in the Himalayas and in Europe, and you are a lineage holder.
I try to anyway, yes.
Damien Brouon, you are an art teacher, an artist, and an author. You have also been teaching Buddhism for many years in French-speaking countries.
Yes, that's correct.
So, thank you. And let's jump into our topic with this first question. At the moment, with artificial intelligence, there's a lot of philosophical questioning about what it is to be human. So, in Dzogchen, what does that mean to be human?
Maybe the first thing we can say about being human is that the human is characterized by a mind that is knowing and clear, that has a certain ability to know reality, to know oneself, to have a reflexive knowing, can say. Something else that can be said here is that this is an embodied mind, meaning a mind in a body, having access to sensation, perception, knowing through the five senses. This mind has also the ability of insight, can have deep insight about his reality.
Human mind.
Human mind, yes, exactly. And in this tradition, we say that it's a very great opportunity to be born as a human, because this insight can mature into wisdom. And this mind has the ability to free himself from his own confusion, illusion, and suffering coming from that. Can say that for beginning.
Thank you.
The Dzogchen tradition adds as well that the fact that a human being is compounded. We are several things. In fact, not one thing. We think as one when it concerns ourselves. But in fact, we say it's a compounded phenomenon in the terms that we perceive the reality through our senses. We think the reality through our consciousness functioning. We experience this reality as well in whatever reflection we have on it. And finally, as you said, there is the human body, which is the support for all these determining factors related to the consciousness, related to the mind. So for the Dzogchen tradition, all this is the human being. And human being is not only one thing related to me, myself, and I, but something related to the interaction of perception, sensation, emotion, thoughts, and mind itself, supported by the body. So this is the definition, actually, for the human being, according to the Dzogchen tradition.
Mm-hmm. So human being is not one thing. It's just it's several things and several, maybe we can
factors, components,
and several
phenomenon
and ways to perceive reality and to interact with it
in a dynamic way. It's a process.
And
it's a flux.
It's a all time, in fact, all time dynamic process because it moves all the time. It changes all the time.
But if it changes all the time, nevertheless, I have the feeling to be I, to be me, to be someone different from you, Rinpoche, from you, Damien. And so what about this self-notion, you know? Because it's central in my experience.
Can I ask you a question back?
Sure.
So what part of you yourself is yourself? This is the right answer. This is a really good answer, I think.
Thank you, Niels.
Okay, so thank you for this episode. We are wrapping up now.
This is the question Dzogchen asks when we ask ourselves this question. When I want to reflect on myself, what I determine as myself, me, just one thing. If I think about myself as, for example, okay, I am here in the head because the head is just the nest of the thoughts and the way I define reality. So what about the rest of the body? What about my movement with the arms? What about my legs? What about my trunk? What about everything else that defines me or helps me to define myself also as a human being? So Dzogchen says that the fact to be a human being is not unique, it's multiple. Multiple meaning that I define myself with all these contact points through the perception. For example, I am just watching you, Damien, and I can define myself and differentiate myself from you. But this is just at one instant, because the next instant I will just face you, and then I will define myself, facing you.
Okay. And
then 10 minutes later, when this podcast will be finished, then I will go alone somewhere in La Sauveté, and I will define myself according to the surrounding reality. So the Dzogchen tradition insists really about the fact that the definition of ourselves is all the time related to. All the time related to my perception, all the time related to my surroundings, or all the time related to my sensations, my thoughts, etc., etc. So I define myself differently all the time. It doesn't mean that I am not one as an individual, but this oneness is not a completely structured thing that never moves. It moves all the time according to all the conditions. So this is what you said about the dynamic aspect of defining ourselves as human being.
But maybe we can add that the feeling of being me, myself, and I is always as if it was something eternal, fixed.
Exactly, yeah.
It's completely contradictory to the real experience.
Yeah.
But every time I'm thinking, yes, this is me. But next moment, this is me, something else. This is me, again, something else. And this is the problem with this notion. This is a feeling coming of something durable, permanent, independent, autonomous, which is not. That's the illusion.
This is the human paradox.
Yes.
So, but I think
we want to grasp, to fix on something that is ungraspable, unfixable.
Okay. So, anyway, I would say, to answer your question, that the self, the I, is a consciousness. And that's why I am different from the artificial intelligence. And the difference, because from my point of view, the AI are not conscious.
No.
I am. So I would say that the I, the way I define it, the self, is consciousness. Is that true? Is that right?
Yes, we can say that. That's a reflexive consciousness.
Okay.
A computer can mimic something like that because it can imitate the logic process of human mind, which is only a small part of what is this human mind, which is also reflexive, which is also emotional, feeling, and so on. And also, what he said, what is the great message of the Dzogchen tradition, this mind is also in his nature beyond any conditioning. That's what is called Rigpa, nature of mind, or primordial knowledge.
So this is the primordial aspect of the consciousness.
Exactly. Yeah.
So I cannot just define myself by my consciousness, but by something else, which is also really deeper than only my consciousness about the reality. I am conscious about the reality with my thoughts, with my sensation, with my emotion. Here it's a really grounded, it's a really deep knowledge, and it's a direct knowledge. So the Dzogchen tradition defines this mind of ours as twofold. One is the relative mind, the ordinary mind, which is related to the thoughts we have, to the emotions we have, to all the conditions we experience during our day, for example. And then the primordial mind, which is not accessible directly through our thoughts, sensation, emotions, but in a more direct and more and a really deeper way of knowing this kind of mind. It means that you have all the time in your experience a really deep aspect of yourself, which is, for example, for the Dzogchen tradition, these kind of moments are when you go to sleep, or when you wake up, or when you reach the time of death, for example. So these moments are really, really strong moments, really sharp moments. Exactly. Also, when you will have a car crash, for example, an accident. At that time, everything changes. If you already experienced that,
I did. Yeah.
Everything is freezing. Everything transforms. The normal conditions we had just stop right on the spot, away.
Yeah.
And then you experience something else. It's an experience, beyond space and time. And this is exactly the way you experience this primordial aspect of the mind. It doesn't mean that you have to have a car crash to do that.
Don't do that at home.
That's a good news.
Yeah, it is a good news. And this is why the Dzogchen tradition says that you can walk a path. You can train to do that.
Okay.
And the main training in the Dzogchen tradition to know yourself in a deeper level is the meditation path and the path of knowledge, also the reflective path. Am I what I am really or not? And then you just jump to the direct knowledge of what you really are. This is the Dzogchen path in a really short tense.
It's a little bit paradoxal, because if I listening correctly to you, or understand actually correctly, it means that the self itself is searching for itself. And all the time, and that it can lead to the primordial self, we could say.
Yes, that's the beginning. We are going back to the first point of what is the human mind. The human mind has this quality of investigating knowing himself, itself. And yes, exactly. We are very much preoccupied by who we are, and the point in Dzogpa Changpo, in the tradition of Dzogchen, we go till the end of this questioning. That's the point. Otherwise, we are the tendency to stop at some fixed image of the self. But here we go really investigate, a real investigation of what it is. And we find a higher or true self, which is selfless, which is beyond any idea of the self, which can be only experienced by a direct perception. It's not some idea, notion, or belief system. It's more a direct perception of what is. That's the point.
And it's so fun.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a really extraordinary experience. When you experience directly the reality, without any filters like your thoughts and emotions and so on, you have it so bright, so amazingly clear that everything else is really fade. Gloomy. It's gloomy. Yes, you can say that. It's really
boring,
gray.
So human reality could be boring compared to this kind of reality, or is
it's not two reality that are different.
Okay.
You experience your human reality in a really brighter way, and when you experience your reality as human, like. In the morning, oh shit, I have to go to work, I'm so tired. You think about that. You define yourself by your thinking and by your emotion. You're tired, you're fed up, you're blah, 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 blah. But when you wake up and you are like awake immediately into these grounds, all your daily life, all the experience you have during your day is so amazingly different. So
I want that.
Yeah, go practice Dzogchen.
And that's the same life. That's the point.
Yes.
What do you mean?
It's not to
car accident anymore.
No car accident.
Yes, exactly. No,
No
you
car
will have
anymore.
the same life, but it's your look on it that will be your view. To take a Dzogchen term, that will be completely different. And you will go back to what is completely, as Rinpoche said, open, bright, and amazing to say it that way.
and the most amazing thing is that it's your true self.
Exactly.
And this is the most amazing thing, because you are searching all the time. I mean, I am searching all the time for an answer of, who am I, where I go, blah, blah,
What's the
blah.
goal of everything?
Yes, what is the goal of my life, etc. And then you discover that your true self is so beyond all of that, you don't care anymore about what you thought about yourself or about your reality. You know that it's just an illusion, and it's so transitory. So you know that you will die soon, so you just enjoy your true self up to the end.
So I can, but if I'm going to die soon, I can do whatever I want, because
It's up to you.
Thank you very much. So
For me,
this episode is
for me,
closing right now.
I know what I want. I know to be in this state of true self, of clarity, of luminosity.
Okay.
If you want to waste your time, just going to the beach and it's not something that is
not bad.
impossible.
Yeah.
But you can go to the beach, and discovering that at the beach also there is your true self.
Okay.
And you can have really different experiences without changing anything about what you do in your life. You can just go on holidays. That's really amazing, and maybe it's the time to go on holidays before maybe the climate changed too much.
Thank you for the advice.
Yes, and also you can do whatever, but in a really different way, and in a really it's so different. You live in a really different way, and everything else is nothing compared to this kind of state. So you don't have to change a thing. You have to change the way you think the reality, the way you experience the reality, the way your emotions are wild. This is, you have to master your mind. Because mastering your mind, you are able to have this kind of really deep experiences. But if your mind is just, as the tradition says, a wild horse all the time, you are all the time in a chaos. So you just wake up, you're in chaos, and you go to sleep, you're in chaos. You have to master your mind if you want to have a really good life. That's it. And it's the only way for the Dzogchen to do it.
Okay, I like the picture of the wild horse,
Yeah,
so,
sure. Can you imagine? It's like jumping everywhere and trying to do a rodeo with it.
Yes, and there is a lot of strength of the horse as well. So it's very harmful also if you don't manage to deal with him.
But when you master it, you have the strength of the horse without the harm.
Without the wildness.
Yes, exactly.
And maybe the first step about that is to have a deep appreciation for every moment in our life.
Like
because it's
aware.
full. Exactly. It's like a very precious gift. But if we don't see it, it's like wasting completely this golden opportunity that is this human life. And every moment of this life, the glorious one, the less glorious one, seemingly boring one, everything is like a treasure.
Yeah, and after a while, with how can I say, with our venerable age we have.
Yes.
When we're getting old.
Yeah, no, not old.
No,
just venerable. When we experience that, it means that even our shitty times we had are really, really precious, because you realize when you age that you learned really more than these times, than the others, than the times there were no challenge or nothing. So this is really, really important. Each moment, negative, positive, and this is also one of the main points for the Dzogchen tradition about the human being. Each moment is so precious. Don't waste it.
And even the challenging time, suffering time, can be a kind of wake-up time.
Okay,
exactly.
It's like when you are in a dream, when the dream is coming really bad, that's the moment you have really a chance to realize it's a dream and to wake up.
Okay.
So you can appreciate anything, everything.
But I cannot wake up from this reality, from the global warming, from the geopolitical unbalance and so on. So,
but you can wake up from your own projection about that.
Okay.
For the story you are telling yourself about that. In that way, you can be free from circumstances. If you work with your mind, of course, the world won't change, but you will. And that's completely different. That's also something that you can offer to the world, to have this view that is wide, open, compassionate, and full of wisdom.
When you just look back to the human history, you cannot say that there was one everlasting period of peace.
That's for sure.
And even the climate changed. So it's just a concept to think that everything was so peaceful before, and now it's just so hard.
It's just a big mess or whatever.
Sure. And, one of the main thing about also the condition of beings for the Dzogchen tradition is that, and as you said, Damien, you can make wishes for the world to change. The world will change, but never in the way you want it to change, unless you change yourself. It's a quote usually attributed to Gandhi. But it's really older, of course, than Gandhi. If you want to change the world, change yourself first. So if your mind is mastered, you have a better chance to also help your surroundings, your loved ones, for example, or the people you are living with, to master ourselves as well. And then a different community can rise from it. And this is called wisdom, actually. But if you are all the time in a reaction state, just
because of the fear.
We have a saying in French: just running like a chicken without a head.
Yeah, thank you.
And I think the image is quite quite clear about that.
Clear,
If we just remain like this, of course, the world won't change. If we don't master our emotion, if we don't master our thoughts, if it's all the time complete chaos inside us, the Dzogchen tradition is really clear, and you don't have to follow also this tradition to think that if you do not master your mind, your life, then how can you give peace to the world? This is just illusory. That's it.
No, it's clear. It's evident when you say it, just controlling, mastering himself, yourself before.
And also, as human being, we shouldn't never forget that we are not, as you said, you are not eternal. We are not eternal. So one day, all these experiences
will vanish,
will disappear. So we will have also to prepare that. And the best way to be prepared, and this is part of our condition, the best way to be prepared is to master ourselves and to master our minds.
Okay.
And this is the most important point for the Dzogchen tradition, for the great perfection tradition.
So to sum up, we could say that be a human. It's too fun. It's too fun, of course.
That's very great, yes.
But the human reality, we can discover something that's what we are really in our primordial ground.
Yes.
Primordial state and self, we can say. And so that could be as well the human reality for us.
Sure.
And to follow this path and to master our mind. And we can be mastering our mind and ourselves. We can help.
Also,
maybe
because no one is an island. If we hold that view, that wisdom, even a little bit, since we are all the time interacting with other human or even beings, it will bring a real change and a concrete one.
Okay.
Not just some idea, something very concrete.
Our surroundings.
Yes, our surrounding, all people we see,
all the people we love,
all the day, in the family, human, animals, all kind of beings.
Okay.
That's if we hold that even a little bit, this is a tremendous contribution.
Okay.
Sure. And whenever you reach that state of good, you are in a really deep at a really deep level. Then you can also just try to make it in the way that there is the common good also. So your own good will develop the common good, and what better human life you can have in just making everything the way you are, not in a confused state, but in a really bright and clear state. I think it's one of the main goals for the Dzogchen tradition, and it can be a noble goal, maybe. Who knows?
So our first
common goods,
our goods for the common goods. I love that. Thank you very much.
I think it's one of the best taglines for the Dzogchen Today project, no?
Probably, yeah.
Yeah.
So let's keep
Come on,
it
good.
like that.
Yes.
Oh, and it's a really sunny day also at La Softé today.
Yes.
Yeah,
So
it's
that
quite
was,
sunny and
even
but
too
for-
much sun.
But it
We
changes.
have to close one window.
Human being is never
No.
satisfied.
Yes.
But it's funny anyway. So thank you very
Exactly.
much.
Thank you, Niels.
That's a great place.
Thank
for
you
us
so much.
to wrap
Thank
up.
you. Goodbye.
And to everyone, stay tuned for the second episode of this mini-series dedicated to the mind, the body, and the universe. So thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And see you soon, maybe.
See
See you soon.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.
You can find more episodes on your website dzogchentoday.org. If you enjoyed this episode, please rate and review us on your favorite podcast app and share it with your friends. We will be pleased to receive your feedbacks on podcast@dzogchentoday.org.